Joshua, what is Andela setting out to do?
So Andela is, we're trying to change the skill and basically address the talent gap within Africa. Our mission is to get around 100,000 world-class developers on the continent. And how we go about doing that is, we do lots of screening. We're trying to get the top 1%, so we get approximately, like to date, we've probably about 50,000 applicants to the program, of which we've accepted about 350.
And that's in 2 different countries?
That's in Kenya and Nigeria. And you can tell it is a bit of a stringent process to get in. And once they join, we give them a 4-year contract. So they join the fellowship for 4 years, during which time we take them through a big learning sort of cycle. They learn for the first 6 months, just self-learning, and then after that 3.5 years of client work. Because we really been learning by doing.
Yes, so you've got project clients who have real life projects that you engage them with.
Yeah, so approximately once you join and you go through our boot camps and you join the program, we spend the first 6 months taking you through an intense sort of training period. After that, you're tested for whether you're client ready. If you're client ready, or you're deemed client ready, then we can expose you to our clients. At this point, I would say 95% of our clients are offshore based, and there are a lot of either high growth companies and 1 or 2 enterprise. So could be, the enterprise could be bigger companies, maybe Prudential, Facebook, Google, or high growth companies like 2U or other plans, etc. So we have a lot of these clients who are really rapidly growing and who have need for huge engineering teams, and we're able to get our fellows working, building activity tools for these companies.
So how do you get from the 350 fellows to the 100,000 ambition that you've got?
Yeah, so I think when you look at the fellowship and you say, yes, we've got this fellowship that has, it does take its time to sort of grow, and even if we expanded countries, how do you get to 100,000? But we launched something called distributed learning communities. I think for us, what we were saying is, how do we build a platform online where a lot of the data and curriculums that we've built and we expose our fellows to, we can begin to push some of this out there, because the methodologies we've built, the learning maps that we've built, the assessing methodologies we've built, let's expose that to the community and allow a lot of these burgeoning developers to look at this, interact with the materials, try and start teaching themselves, and then expose them to mentors. Our fellows already act as mentors to a lot of people outside of the fellowship, and this is something that we can continue.
And give me the example of the work you're doing with Google, because that gives some sense of the sheer scale, really.
Yeah, so I think one of the things, for example, what we're doing right now is we just set on a pilot the other day with the folks at Google, and it's how do we get...
And this is in Nigeria?
In Nigeria. How do we get people working on, say, an Android stack? And I think we decided to use it through some of our communities, distributed learning communities, and as soon as the application went out, the first 2 weeks, about 5,000 people applied. Now, these 5,000 people, between Google and some of our other partners, we give, like Udemy or Udacity, we're giving them access to a lot of online materials, learning materials, which they can then use and track their learning on the Android stack. And after some point, we'll be able to get them certified as Android developers. Now, that gives us people a lot of access to, getting access to funding, getting access to jobs, which they previously didn't have. And it's one of the things that we feel is a model that we can use to scale how we get people quickly ramping up, within a certain number of months to actually become developers. For us, what the DLC also does for us, the distributed learning community, folks who are there are then we're able to look at those and recruit directly from these communities into the program for Andela, and not just into Andela, but also through some of our other partners who are looking for developers in the market. They'll be able to use these communities to look at where the developers are.
My name is Mbithe Nzomo. I'm a software developer here at Andela.
And what are you doing here as a fellow?
I'm currently working on an open source project that is in-house to help kind of smooth our processes internally. And what I am working on is an application built with Python and Elm that helps in selecting participants for some of our cultural activities here.
And what stage are you at in your fellowship?
Currently, I am a D1 fellow, and that means that I am client ready, I qualify to work with some of our partner companies, and I intend on working with them very soon.
And so what's ahead of you in terms of the kind of work you're going to do as a fellow?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. There's lots on the path to being a software developer here at the Andela Fellowship. You start off being an entry-level developer, which is where I am currently, and you move on to be a team lead, to be a senior developer, and then towards the end of the fellowship, you get to actually pick an area of specialization, whether that be software architecture or project management, product management. There's a lot in store.
So for you personally, what's your ambition at the end of this?
I have lots of interest in usability engineering and human-computer interaction. Really fascinated with the psychology behind applications and what makes them really usable. So I definitely see myself specializing more in that, and ultimately my goal is to be a CTO or a vice president of engineering at a pretty impactful company.